Hi everyone, it's Ashley again. I normally will not be posting two videos in the same day like this, but it's a special occasion because I'm launching my project and also I'm the creator and I can do whatever I want. I could post 50 videos in one day and it would be totally cool. I will not be doing that, but two. I can do two. Um, so what I wanted to talk about today, part two, is the actual webcomic that I posted along with my first video. So I think my plan is going to be that like when I post a webcomic, I'm also going to post a video or a quick blog post kind of explaining the comic and the story behind it. Um, this one is a little bit of a touchy subject for me, and it's one that like really gets under my skin, but it's something that really needs to be talked about. So recently I was talking to a friend, and then someone else who I know who is also in this community with me, and it was like right after I had cut my hair, so I shaved it. It wasn't like this before I shaved and dyed it, and this person that I was talking to was like, "Oh, you're queer now. Like, you shaved your head, you're queer now." And I know they were joking, but it was super frustrating and really hurtful to me. Um, because that was what they said, but what I heard basically was, "Oh, your identity wasn't valid until you cut your hair. Like, your identity wasn't valid. You weren't actually queer until you shaved your head. Now you are part of this community. Cool." And it sucked. I was incredibly frustrated by that. Um, like I said, I know this person was joking. I know this person probably meant no harm by it. Um, but it was super frustrating. And when I first came out to my friends as gender fluid, I had pretty long hair. It was like down to the middle of my back. And I don't know. It's just frustrating to feel like you can't get respect unless you pass as something. And it's just crazy to me. So any of my friends who have heard me rant about this already, I apologize. I guess you can just skip this video because you're not going to get any new information from it. It's just me talking about the same stuff. But it was just, like I said, it was super frustrating to me, to feel like someone in that community with me would say something like that to me and completely invalidate the way that I felt before and who I am. So that was the reason behind this week's comic, and also the reason behind this video, is that just this main point of like, my identity was just as valid when I had long hair as it is now. I was just as gender fluid with long hair as I am with short hair. That has not changed. The one thing that did change when I cut my hair was that I felt more comfortable with myself. And I felt like for me, having really short hair works better for me because I don't have as much dysphoria surrounded. Like, I don't have as much dysphoria around my hair when it's short. So on the days that I'm feeling femme and, I want to present that way, this short hair is great and it can work for that. And the days that I'm feeling masculine or not femme or whatever I'm feeling, this haircut's also great for that. And, for some people, that's long hair for them, and that's great. And if that works for you, then that works for you, and that's wonderful. But I wanted to take this opportunity to talk about how we as a society are kind of obsessed with the idea that there's only one way to be something. And it's really frustrating, and it has to stop. It makes no sense. And especially, I don't know, I kind of felt like it wouldn't be that way so much in the non-binary community and in the gender fluid community. Um, but it is. It still happens, and it's tiring. But it's just like, I don't know, it's just really obnoxious. Like, there's only one way to be a gay man. There's only one way to be a lesbian. There's only one way to be such and such. And there's not only one way to be anything. That is ridiculous. We are all such different human beings. Like, even all of us who identify as the exact same things are so different that there's no way that there could only be one way to be or do something. So it's really frustrating to me when I see, like, when I see people say that the only way to be gender fluid is to have short hair. Because that's not the only way to be gender fluid. Like, that's the way that works for me to be gender fluid. And there's this kind of one way that people think of as being gender fluid where you have to be, like, really skinny and really androgynous and kind of, like, boyish looking. And you have a short, edgy haircut and, like, you wear button-downs and skinny jeans all the time. And, like, that's what being gender fluid is, and that's what being non-binary is. And if you are skinny and you have short hair and you wear button-downs and skinny jeans, then that's great and, like, fantastic for you. And if you are big and you have super long hair and you wear dresses all the time and you're gender fluid, then that's great. Good for you. Like, if you're big and you wear skinny jeans and you have half your head shaved and the rest of it's long, then good. Like, that's great for you. You know, whatever helps you to feel comfortable, that's great. Why are we, like, arguing about the one way to be something? Who cares? If short hair works for you, then that's fine. It doesn't have to work for everybody else. Just have short hair. Live your life. Like, yeah, I love short hair because you wash it, it takes 2 seconds. Your shampoo lasts for 30 years, and then it takes 2 seconds for it to dry. And it's like, nice. But you can't, like, braid it. I don't know. Like, there are pros and cons to short hair. And, you know, I don't want this to, like, super derail and just be about, like, the pros and cons of having short hair. Because it's sort of not, but it's just like, be you. Worry about you. You don't have to worry about anybody else. Like, unless they are hurting you or whatever they're doing directly affects you in some way, which I promise you their haircut doesn't. Like, just don't care. Like, it shouldn't bother you at all what somebody else is doing with their hair or their body or how they dress or what they put on their face for makeup. Like, literally, who cares? It shouldn't matter. Like I said, there's no one right way to be anything, and we need to get over that idea. It's ridiculous. It's just, I'm just, like, so tired of hearing that all the time. And I don't know, it's just frustrating. And I, like, talked a little bit about that at the end of my last video where I talked about androgyny, and I talked about how the only way to be androgynous is to wear traditionally masculine clothing. And that's not the only way to be androgynous. And I know a lot of gender fluid people who are much more comfortable in a skirt than they are in pants, and that's great. And if that works for you, then that's great. But it's just like, I don't know, it's just tiring. And I just felt like that really needed to be shared, and I've been wanting to vent my frustrations on that for some time. I know I have already to some people, so I'm sorry if you just watched this whole video and you were like, well, I just heard that, like, last week. Sorry, again, I don't really know what to tell you. But yeah, I don't know. One, like, great gem of wisdom that my mom had for me in the car ride home the other day. Because my mom and I just always have like really deep conversations in the car ride home for some reason. I don't know if anybody else is like that. But my mom was talking about like the bathroom bill and trans rights and parents giving up their kids who are in the LGBTQIA community. And she was like, you know, I don't understand how you can have a child and then expect them to be anything but the person that they were going to grow into. Like, you can't plant a daisy and expect a rose. And I felt like that was something that has stuck with me. Just because she's so right. Like, you are going to be who you're going to be, and everyone else is going to be who they're going to be, and that's going to happen whether you like it or not. So who cares if they wear a dress and you don't? Honestly, who cares? How about instead of caring so much about that and like all of us trying to yell at each other and call each other out for being gender fluid or not being gender fluid enough or being the like stereotypical version of gender fluid, why don't we all just be like, hey, we're all gender fluid. We all have a shared experience here. Like, we all know how much it sucks to have to use the wrong bathrooms everywhere. Like, I don't know, there are much more important things that we could be talking about than fighting over how queer someone is. And it makes no sense to me. There are like so much more important things that we could be fighting about, but I did feel like it was important to me that I brought awareness to that because it royally pissed me off when that person said that to me. And it made me mad, but it also was just like super hurtful to have another person in the queer community be like, oh, now you're queer because you cut your hair. Like, no, I'm not queer because I cut my hair. I'm queer because I've always been queer. I cut my hair because I wanted to cut my hair. And I think one of the most important distinctions I've made so far to myself was that I have not changed. My identity has not changed. But what has changed is my comfort with myself and my physical appearance. And that is really important. That is like a life-changing thing for me. Because like I said, I had a lot of dysphoria around my long hair. And as much as I loved my long hair on the days that I loved it, like the days that I hated it, it was really bad. And that's not to say I won't ever have long hair again, but if I do, guess what? I'll still be gender fluid. It's not going to change. Unless my gender changes because it changes, and that's okay too. But it has literally nothing to do with your hair. Nothing. So that's it for today. I think I'm gonna stop at 2 videos for one day before y'all get sick of me right after I launch my project. But thank you to the supporters that I've gotten already. And like I said last time, if you want to hear me talk about anything or you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. I'll try to answer them. I'll try to bring up new topics next week. And whatever webcomic I post next week, I'll post a companion video for that.